When we're making sales, we think that people are looking at the price, but the reality is most purchases are actually beyond people's budgets. The restaurants people eat at are typically more than their budget. The clothes they wear, the cars they drive, that's the reality. People go to certain restaurants because they like the atmosphere, or it's for convenience, like McDonald's, or these emotional things, right? So there's no difference when it's HVAC sales. If someone scoffs at the price, or they say, hey, the price is too high, or someone else had a cheaper price, that just proves that they don't have the value, that you didn't properly, as the salesperson, communicate the value.
You need to ask the right questions, right? You're not going to be able to speak their language until you pull out the gold, and by asking the right questions, finding their need, and then bringing the value into it.
Yeah, exactly. So questioning, and I love it, Ray Leon, famous sales trainer, teaches that when you make the presentation, really should be at the end of the sales process. A lot of times we walk in and we say, okay, can we sit somewhere? But the presentation, which is the sale, hey, this is what I have to offer and this is how much it is. The reason it's at the end is because at the beginning is when you're doing that questioning, rapport, questioning. So you've already built trust, you've already built likability, and you've already found out what they need, because we're selling people what they need, not necessarily what we need to sell them. So if I have 5 options, when I'm talking to them and asking questions, I can confidently sit with them and say, based off of your answers, I think this will really work for you.
Yeah, and it's all about word track and closing, because you always want to position yourself. How can I say it in a way that is going to give them that light bulb moment? Or how can I ask the questions that it leads that customer realizing, like, oh, I do need this service to fix my issue, to fix my problem. And it's all about leading yourself up to the table. And that's all going to start with questions and finding out the correct needs and that core need of that customer.
Right. And remember that even if you feel like you're new in sales or not good in sales, don't get trapped in that mindset, because every person in this world is a sales expert. And this is what I mean. From the time that you're little all the way up to your adulthood, you're being sold to constantly. So you are an expert in sales. You just have to remember, think about when you're at a restaurant. You have a menu in front of you. There's tons of things on there. You may narrow that down naturally to a couple things, but what do you normally do at a restaurant? You say to the waiter or waitress, hey, what's good, right? Yeah. So we can do the same thing, because that really works. We give a menu, they may narrow it down to a couple things, but they still want to hear from you. What do you recommend? And if you don't give them that, then all you're doing is passing that baton to the salesman at the other company that's going to say, this one really works for you. Because people are stressed, they're nervous, they know they have to make a big purchase, they've talked to 2 or 3 different companies. If you can remove that from them by saying, hey, I've heard everything that you're going to say, this is going to be perfect for you, you're going to love this one.
Yeah, and that's all about being what I call a doctor of HVAC, right? You never feel like you're being sold when you go to the doctor's office. Why? Because they are the perfect consultants. They're going to just draw out the need by asking you a few questions. What have you been experiencing? How long have you been experiencing the heartburn, the back pain? And then from there, they prescribe. We should have the same mindset, or your selling techs or your salesman should have the same mindset when we're at customers' homes, right? Because their home is the body, right? It's sick. How do we diagnose what's wrong? And how do we ask the right questions to find out what's wrong? And how do we position the remedy? How do we position the prescription to fix the problem?
And be natural when you're asking those questions. Just like Ariel said, prescription, it's almost like a doctor. Be natural. None of us like that doctor that's super clinical. They come in, they got freezing hands and they're touching you and they're just saying, hey, where's the pain? Boom, boom, boom. That's not a good experience, right? We have to deal with that with the doctor because we don't have many choices. But people have choices from different companies. So don't be a robot. Be normal. Ask these questions in normal conversation. Try to hear what they're saying. If someone says, oh man, this room is usually really hot, don't just bypass that. Ask them about that. Then when you present, you can address that. Oh, by the way, this unit will not only work for you because of this, this, and this, but that room, we're gonna take care of this by this, this, and this.
And that way you're being conversational and not being just transactional. Or I like to say it as well, being relational and not just being transactional, because relational, conversational, that's going to go a much longer way than you just asking a bunch of questions. Hey, where's your unit? Where's your air handler? Telling them what exactly is wrong with the issue, and then telling them the price, or telling them even worse, leaving and say, hey, I'll email you that estimate and I'll get back to you.
That's amazing. So if you're watching this video on YouTube or on Facebook, we have a mastermind community where we drop these videos in. We'll put the link right here in the comments. Join it. Right now, we have it for a really low price before we raise it. We're going to raise it when we get to a certain number of people. We have limited slots. The link is right there. Thanks for watching.